So for learning target 6.5, there are a couple of things. There's just this sort of basic problems to begin with, and then there's a word problem to look at as well. So first, they want to know the circumference of this circle. Well, circumference is 2 times the radius, because that would give me the diameter, times pi, or circumference is just the diameter times pi, or pi times the diameter. You can rearrange these things. In this case, they give me the radius, so their circumference is just 2 times 7 times pi, which means the circumference is 14 pi inches. In this case, they give me the circumference, but they want the radius. So 120 as the circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. I want to solve for the radius, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi, so that these will cancel, leaving just r. And they told me to leave my answer in terms of pi, so I'm not going to take my calculator and punch in 120 divided by 2 divided by pi, but I am going to reduce this fraction. 120 over 2, that's going to simplify to 60 over pi, so the radius equals 60 over pi inches. Now the word problem they gave you is this idea. You have Melanie riding on a merry-go-round on the outer edge. So Melanie's out here. And that is a total of 8 meters away. So from here to here is 8 meters. But her sister Melody sits in the inner ring of horses 3 meters from Melanie. So Melody is in here. If she's 3 meters from Melanie, then she's 5 meters from the center of the circle. And they want to know the average speed of each sister. Well, I said the circumference of the outer ring and the circumference of the inner ring, because their names both started with M and MEL, and that made it kind of tough. So I need to know how far she goes in how much time. That's the speed. Well, the distance she goes in one revolution is the circumference of the circle. So for the outer circle, I know that the radius is 8, so the circumference is 2 times 8, which would give me the diameter, times pi. The circumference of the outer circle is 16 pi, and that is in meters. The inner circle, the radius is only 5, so I'd take 2 times 5 to get the diameter of 10 times pi. So the inner circle, it's 10 pi meters. So in one revolution, that's how far each of them have traveled. Now, to find the velocity on the outer one, it's distance divided by time, because that'll give me meters per minute, or meters per second. They didn't actually specify. Oop, they did. Meters per second. So what I do know is this. I know that the sister on the outside, Melanie, travels 16 pi meters every time she makes one revolution. That's what I'm starting with. Now, what I also know is in 10 minutes, they go around 30 times. Well, going around is a revolution, so there are 30 revolutions in every 10 minutes. And the reason I put these here is because now revolutions here will cancel with revolutions up there. One has to be in the top and one in the bottom. This gets me to meters per minute, but it said meters per second, so I need to convert minutes to second. 1 minute is 60 seconds. Now, the minutes units will cancel, one on the top, one on the bottom. So my answer, I'm going to take 16 times pi times 30 divided by 10 and divided by 60. And it said round to the nearest tenth, so the velocity of the outer ring is 2.5 meters per second. Doing the same kind of work on the inner ring over here, well, to find that velocity, she travels 10 pi meters for every one revolution. She's still, same thing, she's going to make 30 revolutions in 10 minutes. That part's not going to change. And 1 minute is still 60 seconds. That part's not going to change. So the only thing that changes is how far she goes in one revolution. So when I take 10 times pi times 30, divided by 10 divided by 60, I end up with the velocity on the inner ring is 1.6 meters per second. So the difference, 2.5 minus 1.6, difference, which is 0.9. Now they didn't ask me the difference. If they had, then I would say that. What they really asked was the average velocity, the speed of each sister. So I'm not going to write this out, but what I wrote out on my paper was Melanie's average speed is 2.5 meters per second, and Melody's is 1.6 meters per second.